All right, in this week's news, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I came across and everything. So, first one was off like a website called Polygon.com, and it talks about the upcoming adventures and stuff for Pathfinder. And of course, it's a book. Also, it's several books. Like the first one is called War of the Immortals. It's based on like the first. It continues on with the Pathfinders getting away from like the whole OGL debacle with D&D late last year and early this year and everything. So it's pretty much like the first free one with the remastered editions and everything. So it's going to be like a 240-page book is going to be coming out in October, and so it gets into like a bunch of new adventures and everything. So like for instance, one of the adventures that this article talks about is like a Pray for Death adventure, which starts people off at like level 14 and it goes up to level 20, and it's like of course level 14 plus. So another one that he talked about is it's called Curtain Call, and this one starts this adventure book and of course all this stuff is kind of tied together in the article that it talked about. So these are the kind of stuff that's going to be coming out in regards to the whole War of Immortals rebranding type of deal. So the second one is, like I said, Curtain Call, and it starts off with characters on level 11, and it'll take them up to level 20 or anything. So this one is a uh, higher level adventure. So you might have to if you run this one, do one of two things: either start your adventures off at level 11, or you can have run an adventure beforehand to get them up to level 11, or run them independently and bring them together to run this adventure and everything. So of course, like anything, there's always multiple ways you can run this and everything. So the the ways you can run this are pretty much just limitless, to the point any two tables could run them a million different ways and everything. So the third one that they really got into, and they really didn't give too much details on this third one called God's Reign. So it's kind of the God's Reign is kind of like, oh hey, look, this is the third one that's coming out and everything type of deal. So that's what the sense with that I got with that one and everything. So that was a stuff for a Pathfinder that I'm like, oh hey, look, this is kind of cool. And of course, if you go check it out, I found it on Polygon.com. So the artwork on that, at least with the cover and everything, it looks kind of cool and everything. So that's probably what caught my eye. And of course, artwork can do that for us and everything. So that's what kind of caught my eye. I'm like, oh hey, wait, this. And I saw the article and and got into it. I'm like, wait, they're getting away the artwork, and plus like I said, with the whole OGL debacle that Wizards of the Coast, or a Hasbro, did with trying to basically, a lot of people say, a nickel and dime stuff out of people. That whole debacle and everything that happened and everything. This is like a Pathfinder's or Paizo's response, oh hey, look, we kind of want to get away from this and everything. So and of course this expands on the remaster of their second edition, and it's a continuation of that. Getting away from the whole OGL and kind of trying to distance themselves from a D&D. So in a way, I say it's a good thing for them, because it'll help them distinguish them on being something completely different than D&D. So I mean, of course, yes, I know I've said in other videos that they're still kind of playing second fiddle to D&D. So this could help them bridge the gap, or quite possibly past them, take the first spot and everything. Of course, with having D&D been around for 50 years, that's kind of a daunting task. So, but either way, Pathfinder, what I've come across in the last year or so, it's yeah, Pathfinder is definitely worth getting into. So even if it is a second fiddle to D&D, so and it's definitely get into it and everything, because it could be just you may be a D&D veteran like me of decades, and you're like, okay, I want to break from this, so here we go, here's Pathfinder. So these are new adventures and everything that are upcoming, with a whole new book and everything. So kind of oh hey, here's something that's upcoming that can maybe get into Pathfinder now and get set up for this once these start coming out and everything. So Another thing I came across, of course, was for actual D&D and everything, and it's another adventure book that I saw. It's called now like I don't have this myself, but the adventure book, it's called The Chains of Asmodeus, and it's branded as like a sequel to the Descent, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. It's brand like the way the article was that on the GamesRadar.com website that I came across, the GamesRadar.com website. That's where I came across that and everything, and so like it was talking that like it's kind of like a sequel to the Descent into Avernus adventure and everything, because it takes off where that left off at like level 11, and this one, just like the curtain call for the Pathfinder I just talked about, this one takes you from level 11 to level 20. So like in a sense, like instead of like and what it talks about is, instead of going just to like the first level of hell of Bator, you're actually going through the whole plane and everything, and like the main villain is basically the devil god Asmodeus himself and everything. So like that's kind of cool. So it's like a good 300-page book. It's as well. So it's like one of those in-depth adventures. So like, of course, like I said, starting you off at a level 11 and it takes you level 20, of course, is going to be kind of in-depth, because you got like all those high level the higher end levels that you have to get through and everything. So now, like I said, this one was kind of branded as a sequel to Descent in Avernus, even though technically it really like you could say it's like not necessarily a sequel, but it's in the way like Descent into Avernus and this one are kind of like written out. You can do you can use this one as the sequel to Descent into Avernus, and of course like both those are kind of like it talks about being like kind of like a prequel to like a Baldur's Gate 3 game, the computer game that recently came out, and of course that one game of the year, and so like that was like a big computer game, so like you can kind of say that was tied in. But like I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, and I probably won't, due to like lack of time, because I'm busy doing a lot of other things and everything. So like I mean, I'm not much of a video game player myself now. I mean, I do play like Final Fantasy 14 for like a few hours every week. So it's like it's one of those like, okay, do I sacrifice doing other things like my gym time or something to start playing Baldur's Gate 3? It's like, yeah, not really, but like I'll look at like I'll definitely read articles and like get into like a podcast and like watch people like get maybe play it and everything if I have time on break or something. But my time is spent others doing other things, so getting into Baldur's Gate is kind of like a tedious task and everything. But maybe eventually, if someone is interested, I could actually get into playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I could probably do a game review on that and everything. So like and again, if people are interested, I could that's something I could do and everything. So but like I said, this Chains of Asmodeus adventure book is something that you can you don't necessarily have to do Descent into Avernus, but it definitely expands on that, because like you in a sense you've already gone to hell once, why not go back there and everything. So like you've already in a sense defeated the minions of hell that first time, why not go knock off the king himself type of deal with this one. So that's kind of like the concept with this one. So that's the couple things that I came across and everything, like over like just kind of quick searches and stuff over the course of the week and everything. So like, of course, there's a lot more, and so like if people want me to get into like other things, I'll continue searching for those stuff and everything. So these are the two things that I came across for this week. The first one was like Pathfinder's War of Immortals, and it gets into like the article on the Polygon.com. It gets into like the adventures that are tied into that book and everything, and of course like on GamesRadar.com with the adventure book for Chains of Asmodeus is for D&D 5th edition. And so like even though there are like a ton of adventure books out there already, it seems like they just keep coming out with more and everything, because like I for one like to have like more content and everything. So that like in a sense, especially if like you're a DM and everything, the more books and more information you have and everything, the more ammunition you have, and so the more stuff you can throw at your players, especially if you're a veteran player, have a bunch of veteran players, and so you could, in a sense, get that more information, ammunition, and everything, so you can throw that curveball at them, like. Because veteran players might like, oh yeah, we know how everything's going to go and everything, and then all of a sudden you throw that curveball and do something completely different. So that's where like all these adventure books come in handy. You don't necessarily have to run them. What you can do is use the information from them and tie them into your existing campaign. So that's the other added benefit to the adventure books and everything. So yeah, definitely, like if you wanted to go to polygon.com and gamesradar.com to check out these stuff that I checked out and everything.